All right, it's 5:30. Everybody ready? Okay. It is 5:30 p.m. and I will call to order this meeting of the Zoning Commission of the City of Von Ormy. Madam City Administrator, would you please call a quorum?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Sebastian Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Raymond Guzman.
Here.
Mayor Art Martinez Rivera.
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We'll forego the invocation and pledge of allegiance since we just did it, unless there's an objection.
Yes.
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 1, zoning case. A request for a zone change from C, Commercial District, to PD, Planned Development District, with a base zoning of RD2, Regional District 2, to allow food processing on approximately 2.2 acres, generally located at 13994 Interstate 35 South, Von Ormy, Texas, 78073.
And the, sir, and the future land use map, the public hearings at the same time.
Oh, these are public, okay, and for public hearing also on B, consideration of the City of Von Ormy future land use map and formulation of a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. Would anybody like to be heard at the public hearing on item 1A or 1B? Okay. All right, hearing none, we will close the public hearing at 5:32 p.m. With nobody providing comment. We'll move on to agenda item number 2, discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding the application for a zone change from C, Commercial District, to PD, Planning Development District, with a base zoning of RD2, Regional District 2, to allow food processing on approximately 2.2 acres, generally located at 13994 Interstate 35 South, Von Ormy, Texas, 78073. Is Brandon going to present on that? or-
Brandon and Merrick are both here.
Okay.
I just have a question. I just know that you say RD2, but we requested RD3
Okay. RD,
on application.
Brandon,
oh, we just called up the food processing?
Although we,
Okay. He was stating that this may be incorrectly stated, that they're applying for RD3 and this says RD2. That
Okay, they're applying for
3?
RD3.
Okay.
So you want a planned development district with RD3?
yeah, you see, but I look at that, and all of this, and this one allows us also retail, and the hotel is in place, assembly and packing, and the manufacturing, the RD2 is doesn't allow.
What was on the actual application?
But I got a copy of application here, it says RD3 on both trucks.
Okay.
So he applied for RD3, I thought it was RD2.
Okay.
Because RD3 does not, yeah.
Right.
That's RD3 would, yeah, that's not, RD3 is not consistent with that area at all. Y'all can always do that, y'all can always,
Well, hold on, I don't know if we can hear it. So the agenda, it was posted as RD2?
yeah, well, so Brandon had advised me that that location didn't qualify for RD3, so that it would be an RD2 base, and then y'all can make the concessions in the PDD.
so I'll, again, just so you understand, the RD3 district wasn't designed for the highway.
Uh-huh.
He can always ask for it, he's
Yeah.
private property, and they can ask for whatever they want. That was just honestly my mistake. I thought it was RD2 because RD3 is not something that would typically get requested there. It definitely wouldn't be anything I would recommend in favor of, like a highway.
Can you explain the difference?
I'm sorry?
Can you explain to us the difference?
RD3 is the city's high-density
Yeah.
kind of employment center district that's intended for more kind of industrial uses, more kind of frankly uses that they're wanting to, that he's wanting to do.
There's some
It's,
pictures.
it's the district that's specifically intended for distribution, warehousing, food processing, stuff that's not, in my opinion, stuff you want on the highway. On the highway, you want retail kind of things that are uses that thrive on highway traffic and high visibility. Distribution, a warehouse is typically a destination kind of place. Someone doesn't stop there because they're driving by the way they would a Panda Express or a Starbucks.
Right.
Distribution is you know where you're going, so you don't need to be right on the highway frontage. And so RD3 is not a zoning district that was designed to be on the I-35 frontage. You know, it's kind of like in the old zoning code, you had your industrial, you wouldn't want your industrial on the I-35. You want it commercial or retail oriented. So that was honestly my mistake. I honestly thought he was applying for RD2 because that's the point of doing a plan development district. The reason you would ask for a plan development district is because you want to use RD2, which is more appropriate for a base zoning district. But then you want this one other thing that may not be, that is required in the RD3, but you don't want to just do RD3 and allow for the whole menu of options that you could get with RD3. So if you guys were to approve a plan development district subject to RD3, it's pointless to do a plan development district and ask for an RD3. Does that make sense? If you ask for a plan development district, the purpose of that is to have the base zoning district, which is appropriate for I-35, plus that one little
One
use
exception.
subject to a site plan, making sure it's done a certain way.
Right.
So, again, I honestly, my mistake, I thought he wanted RD2 because if he's doing RD3, plan development district makes no sense. So anyway, yeah, y'all would need to do another notice because that's what we noticed. So we can talk about it tonight, definitely have productive conversation. You just need to come back here and table it for another meeting. So y'all can't take action on it because that's not what was noticed to the public. So honestly, my mistake, my mistake. That being said,
We could achieve the same result though by going with a base district RD2 with PDD,
Mhm. Yes,
allowing for the specific use.
yes,
yeah, you guys could make a decision on that. So
Yes.
tonight, he came here saying, hey, I asked for a PD with RD3. I put it on my application and Brandon screwed up and put RD2. Fair enough. But y'all could still take action on the RD2. So if y'all want to take action on what he's asking for tonight, you can't do that. But if you wanted to take action on what I advertised in there and you wanted to recommend to the council, which is yourself, but in a different capacity, if y'all wanted to recommend onto the commission or the board, RD2, a plan development district for RD2, subject to the site plan, y'all could do that.
Right.
I have my own recommendations on that too, but we can get to that in a minute if you like, after he makes his presentation.
but so where, an RD3 would not be on the highway, where would an RD3 be?
RD3 is going to be more over like, we're about to adopt a future land
Yeah.
use plan, which if we had a future land use plan that was, in effect, I could tell you exactly where, but per the future land use map that we're going to adopt here in a little while, which is intended to give guidance for where the zoning districts go, RD3 is something that's going to be in a regional area, and would typically be near some regional roads like Quintana over by the railroad tracks.
Mhm.
You know, you're not going to get any retail use over by the railroad tracks.
Mhm.
Your retail, your IKEA down the road, your HEB, your Walmart, your Bells, your Specs, all that kind of stuff is going to go on I-35. And behind that kind of stuff, and between that and the railroad tracks is where you would see something like this,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Mayor,
Yes.
here's what I've got to say. We've kicked this property around enough. We need to get something done there.
Right.
So I would make a motion that we change it from RD2 to RD3.
No, that was,
Okay.
no.
Well, that's not on the
would
agenda,
not.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
is what they're saying. It was posted for two.
But
I think, correct me, let me see if I can summarize it, make sure I have it correct.
Yeah.
Is under both scenario, or under both 2 with an exception and 3, they can do what they're wanting to do, which is food processing. What if we do 3, then that changes it permanently. So let's say a subsequent owner could come in and put in a concrete mixing facility or
Exactly.
anything
Yeah,
they wanted.
Yes.
Okay.
With the 2, what it says is they can do what they want to do with it, But whenever they stop doing that, it reverts back to what everything else is on I-35 as far as appropriate use.
But I will caveat that, I talked to Merrick and,
Yeah.
you know, nothing personal, I respect what he's trying to do for his client. So he's asking to do a food processing facility. So even, we're talking RD3 versus RD2, you know, what you could potentially do in RD3 that's not a great thing and not good for I-35 versus what you can do in RD2, which is more compatible. He's proposing a site plan to fill up the whole property with warehousing and distribution. So really, the conversation about what you could and couldn't do is pointless too, if he ends up building according to the site plan, which is filling the whole site up with warehouse and distribution and not getting any retail on the frontage, which is what we talked about last time. Last time, we gave him guidance to push the retail and everything, or to push the warehousing and distribution back on the back part of the site to preserve the front for retail or hotel or other tax generating purposes. But he's come back and he's proposing a site plan to just fill up the whole entire place with warehousing. So definitely y'all's prerogative to approve it if you want to. This is, you know, it's, in the end, whether we do RD2 or RD3, if you guys approve it the way it's presented, you're forfeiting retail or hotel or anything that's going to produce any revenue for the city whatsoever on this property. So that's the brass tacks of it.
Okay. We should probably hear from the applicant. Would you like to explain your application? Yeah.
We started with the front. They're supposed to be warehousing slash distribution slash retail in the front. We didn't get a final drawings on it because all the mess started with the zoning. So I make it a view. Then we went with my client with the base zoning. So okay, well RDZ2 warehousing not allowed. RD3 warehousing is allowed, and we definitely, if he's gonna use the second part also for commercial, he's gonna have to bring all his distribution here. So whatever is gonna be in the front, whatever is gonna be on the back, you're still gonna have a chance to approve the plans or not approve the plans. So this is not like we're gonna push it and this is what we're gonna do. Then another thing, let's say, okay, we have some parking lot on the back. On the RD2, parking lot is not allowed at all. So that's why we keep doing RD3. Another point here was very important, manufacturing. Again, RD2 not allowed any manufacturing, and RD3 it allows manufacturing. Then packing, assembly, like packing those things together for shipment. RD2 doesn't allow it. RD3 only allows it. So basically, we can do nothing with RD2.
But that's why the plan development district, because the plan development district, they can give you permission to do those things in the RD2. So it can be allowed.
Here's what I have a problem, Valerie. We've been asking the permissions already for so many times, and sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't get it.
Yeah.
And we just need to know if we're going to do something or not. That's the problem. And then everything is going to be hanging. Again, I'm going to come back to him and say, okay, you know what, we have a RD2, maybe they allow us to do parking.
So the plan development district, the PDD that you submitted the application for, so it would be RD2, but it would be with the uses in the RD3.
What it would be, the application you submitted, a plan development district is intended to be a type of zoning that specifically facilitates one particular project. So a plan development district is not supposed to be, give you the ability to come in and say, here's, the zoning is RD2, but I want to have these other 7 other possible uses too. It's not a scattershot kind of thing. It's not intended to just give you a bunch of extra options to develop it later. It's supposed to be to allow you to develop that one particular thing on the site plan. So that's what Valerie was saying, is that RD2 will let you do all of the retail and the standard things, but you will also get permission to do exactly what's on that site plan, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing, there's another problem. since we decided to develop the whole property, we're gonna be submitting completely brand new plans, and everything is gonna go according to the commercial. I heard something about a hotel or motel also, some kind of a
Yeah.
truck stop or something. Of course, this will go for your approval. So once we secure the zoning, and I know what we can do, what we cannot do, then we're gonna do
Oh,
big dirt.
because it's project specific. So it's specifically for the project that you submit. And then you make it, you work it out with the board and they approve that project just as you present it. So whether it's a hotel with a truck stop and your distribution and whatnot in the back, like it's whatever you submit that y'all make it becomes an ordinance, it becomes an agreement, and they say, yes, you can do exactly this project. So it would be RD2, but it would be with the allowances to let you do all these things, plus the hotel, truck stop. We just need the plan, so they have to approve that specific plan. It's plan specific.
So yeah, if y'all have
Yeah.
plans for the things, we need to.
Oh, yeah, we could.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
It's-
that's the thing.
So let me see if I understand that. If I take this RD2 today, then later on, if I ask, hey, actually the distribution is gonna be a part of it, but we also are gonna leave the distribution on the back, and we're gonna put the, I don't know, the hotel or motel in this area. Then I'm gonna have to come and get it approved.
So there is a solution to what you're describing right now, and they could, in my opinion, the board could approve a scenario that's just what you described. So tonight, what y'all could approve is say, we recommend to the council, we recommend approval of a planned development district subject to RD2 that allows for warehouse and distribution on the back half, that generally allows for warehouse and distribution on the back half.
Yeah.
Only. And which that effectively retains the front for RD2 types of uses. And you could make that recommendation subject to, when he comes to council, he needs to bring you an exhibit that very clearly delineates where that line will be for the warehousing and distribution.
Yeah.
And then you can put a caveat in there, that when it comes to council, you also put a caveat that it's subject to future site plan approval, and that he needs to come back with the site plan. So to me, y'all could do that. That also kind of gives him some approval, because like he said, he's been coming, and he has. He's come out here 4 times. And to be empathetic to him, it's probably frustrating that he hasn't gotten any kind of approval yet. So y'all could strike a middle ground tonight and generally give him approval of the land uses he's asking for without, in my own words, giving away the farm on the site plan, that just has all the warehousing and distribution. Because if y'all approve that site plan,
Yeah.
when he submits it, we have to approve it.
Yeah.
So give him what he wants tonight, which is basically the ability to do warehousing and distribution somewhere, but not lock yourself down, and it's up to him to give you an exhibit. And then, at council, y'all can even, it's not unheard of to approve a planned development district subject to future site plan approval. Meaning, he comes back in 6 months when they finally have a site plan that shows what they really want to do. And then it's the understanding that y'all can't deny him based on land use, but you can deny him based on, if he brings a site plan that has warehousing and distribution in the front, then you can say, sorry, this isn't what your PD requires. So there's ways to give him some entitlement without needing him to have it all figured out. That'd be my recommendation for tonight. Recommend approval, subject to him bringing you an exhibit, just a simple land use exhibit to the commission. Does that sound feasible? But you don't get a permission, you don't get approval of that site plan, but that's the only thing.
No, it's fine. The only thing is, how about this? RD2 front, RD3 back. You said you don't have anything.
Well,
in
it'll-
case,
it'll work the same
The
way.
RD3 is, we wouldn't recommend the RD3 because there's residential back there, and you don't want RD3. So again, like I said, the point of a planned development district is not to give you approval and let you have tons of extra zoning uses, because that's not what a planned development, statutorily, they couldn't even do that. There's federal and state law that says, city can't just give you spot zoning, because that's spot zoning. So a planned development district is intended to facilitate a particular project on a piece of property. So that's why the council, it's reasonable to give you RD2 base, and it's up to y'all to decide what uses do you need for this project. Not 10 uses, just 2 or 3, whatever your project's gonna be.
Here's how I was hoping it's gonna go. We're gonna get the RD3 that opens us for all kinds of development. Then I will get for specific use, I will come for a specific use approval, then say, hey, you know what, if there's a manufacturing we're gonna do in this area, it allows on my zoning, and you approve it or not. And you tell me later, hey, you know what, move it to the left, to the front, to the. And at this moment, we can do no manufacturing at all,
Well, you can with the planned development district.
okay?
It is possible. With the RD2 and the planned development district,
Not for sure, but it's possible.
you can, yes. But it's depending on the site plan. They have to approve it. That's why you have to submit the plan. But it doesn't have to be RD3 for you to do it. It can be RD2 and you still do your project the way you're wanting to do it. It's just specific to the site plan.
So let's make an example. We have on the back, right, all this big parking area.
Mhm.
RD2
Right.
specifically says no parking.
Right, but with the planned development district, they can give you the parking.
Okay.
They can give it to you in the RD2. That's the planned development district.
Yeah, we can do that tonight.
Yeah.
We can approve warehousing and parking,
Yeah.
Yes,
maybe
they
like
can
below
recommend-
this line or
Yeah,
something
they
like
can
that.
do that tonight. They can recommend that tonight pending the site plan, like Brandon said.
Yeah.
You can, again, it's not uncommon.
It's custom,
for- exactly.
right? It's custom, so.
It's a custom zoning, and, they could recommend approval tonight to allow you to have warehousing and parking, subject to, I would recommend, subject to the buffering standards of the RD2. So just like we did on alternate.
On diesel,
You know,
yeah.
on the diesel, you let them have the diesel mechanic operations, which is not allowed in RD2, but you let them have that one particular extra use, but they had to meet all of the development standards
Yeah.
requirements of the other districts. So you're allowed to have this activity, but it needs to look and feel and also be compatible with all the residential property that we want to have residential in eventually. It needs to be compatible with that. And those are the things that we look for and that he'll need to comply with when he finally comes in with an actual site plan.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's already confusing.
So,
This is only the 4 items that really needs, we can put those as we can use, and this. Of course, number 1, vacuum.
right, so
This is only on
They-
RD3.
but yeah,
We can put
but-
this one that we can do vacuum.
So-
Okay, how about the manufacturing? This
you
number
can still do that in the RD2 with the planned development district. They can give you all those permissions in the RD2.
Okay.
I guess the question though, to me, is what is your project? Are you
Yeah.
gonna do a food facility, or are you gonna do a manufacturing facility, or are you just asking for a bunch of stuff?
You know what, we had the discussion before, right? Food processing or manufacturing, what they doing?
Packaging.
It's a
Yeah.
kind of a 2-1 both, right? Because if they doing something over there, mixing some things together, you can call it a food processing or manufacturing. I would say more like a manufacturing, because food processing would be something, in the freezers, and close to the stores. That would be, for me, more like a manufacturing. So that's why one of those items here is manufacturing. We want to keep that.
So
Yeah.
manufacturing, I think in the code, is you're taking raw materials, so you can manufacture anything. So what particular byproducts are you guys gonna be?
Everything was related to spices.
Okay, so we would probably focus it on that. So
Yeah.
spices is not manufacturing. Manufacturing is creating ball bearings and parts for a Toyota. So spices, that's food processing. So if you're only just gonna be dealing with spices, you don't
Do
need
we have a food processing here? No.
But you
Yes,
can,
That's
you
what
can,
we
yes.
Okay.
So food
But,
processing.
right, we can tailor, it. We can say
Exactly.
spice processing and
Exactly.
whether that's
and
packaging,
distribution, yeah.
mixing,
Exactly.
derivative project, if it's spices in, spices out, it's
Yeah,
allowed,
So,
Yep.
yeah.
then again, so, go ahead. See what, this is what is very important for us. Now, packing.
Yeah.
It's, Article 2 doesn't say anything about the packing. Here is, Article 3 says you can do packing.
We can, well, part of this is, like the mayor was saying, we can write this and give you permission
Yeah.
in a way, you know, if you, and maybe between now and the council meeting, if you can better describe in one paragraph all the different activities. So it means you're receiving raw spices, you're packaging them up into new spices, and you're putting them in containers, and then you're wrapping them in larger boxes and shipments, and then then you're loading that onto a truck, and then you're shipping it out. That processing chain, if you can tell us that, we can make sure to write it to where you guys don't need to feel worried
Yeah,
that,
that's
you
good.
know.
So what I would like to get it rewritten, specifically there's gonna be warehousing available.
Yep.
Okay, this is, the second one is, of course, the parking, right? You can tell me you don't want it in the front, I'm not gonna even design it the way it's cute, you know, I'm gonna design it that it's gonna go on the back, that's what we have. So we have, like I said, number one, warehousing, number two, the parking.
Mayor, what we would write is to.
Three, the manufacturing, what we can do with food processing, okay? And packing assembly, that's all we really need.
Yeah.
The way we would write it is a food
Right.
processing facility. We wouldn't write it where you get manufacturing. We wouldn't write it to where you just write words, right? Because then someone can come in and say, I want to put in a ball bearing manufacturing. I was allowed manufacturing. No, you weren't. You were given permission for a food processing facility and all of the other associated activities involved in that alone, such as packaging, parking.
Shipping.
Manufacturing
Packaging.
is not, you don't need manufacturing, there's no, in terms of the general sense, but shipping, all those kinds of things. So it would be said, you get food processing and all of the other associated secondary, tertiary uses that are involved in food processing, that's it.
Yeah.
Is
It
that
would work.
okay?
That's what you
The
want to
goal is to protect the city.
I
If y'all go under, that we don't want somebody else coming in and using the RD3 to build bulk barrels.
Yeah,
So that
but-
way, you will be allowed to do what you need to do on the property, but if y'all leave, then it goes back to more commercial uses. Or somebody else can come in and do the exact same thing y'all are doing, but that's the extent.
If you don't do this food
That's good.
processing, it's just RD2.
Yeah.
But if you don't do food processing and all the packaging, assembly, and combination of things, which, you know, we can agree or disagree is manufacturing isn't. If you don't do food processing, then it's just RD2. But if you do food processing, or like Jacob said, if somebody else buys it, like, hey, I want to do food processing, then you can do that.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good. It's good. It's not bad. It's good. It's good. Yeah.
No, I had some other ideas also, like I said, it was somebody was throwing the idea about some truck stop and with the motel. So the owner is kind of like, so what we can do? At this moment, we can do nothing. We have to secure the zoning. Once they're gonna have the zoning secured, you can do you can probably do all your manufacturing, bring
Yeah.
it from whatever you got it on the border, and make your center here, accordingly to what we got on the plans. And I told him, or if you wanna go with some retail, with something else, then we're gonna have to check the zoning, what it allows, go for approval, and then do the new plans.
I think, I'll double check the zoning between now and next meeting, but I'm pretty sure you can do a truck stop in the RD2.
Yeah.
You can do a truck stop in the RD2.
You can do a hotel.
in the
Yeah.
RD2. So all these other things that you're talking about that the owner is saying might do, like, you can do that in the RD2. So
Yeah.
again, by doing what we're recommending tonight, this preserves your ability to do all of these other great things that the city has said they would like you to do on I-35. But you can also do food processing too.
Yeah,
Follow
that's,
it with that.
that's what honestly, you know, my client is, he gets it on, okay. That's what happened,
Yeah.
you know. I said, I'm gonna put some more glass, I'm gonna put some more trees. Why, what's he doing? What are you doing? Are we gonna do it or we not gonna do it? And then finally he said, I don't want it. Oh, okay, stop.
Okay.
And then, you know, so
Yeah.
now he says, now they say, okay, let's go back. But we have to rezone everything for the commercial and just do some bigger development.
Yeah.
So this is where I am. I really want to do something because
I hear you. No, I hear you.
this is what I'm doing for a living. Like I'm doing construction.
Yeah.
Call him and tell him you can do it.
I think what Brandon's saying gets you what you want to do, and those additional uses fall under RD2, and it conforms to our plan, to the zoning plan that's already adopted. So, I mean, I would entertain a motion that we approve the RD2 with the allowance for food processing, warehousing, parking, packing and assembly related to that food processing
In the rear.
in the rear, and subject to final approval of the site plan.
Yeah, subject to, between now, subject to prior to city council, which will be in 30 days, providing staff with just a very simple land use plan that draws that line. Let y'all's property, so y'all propose, where's the line you want to draw on this property between the top that you're going to preserve for retail, a hotel, or a truck stop, and the bottom half, the back 40, if you will, where you're going to potentially have this warehouse. We just need that exhibit, and then we can approve that. And we don't, and the council can approve your planned development district without needing some really extensive detailed site plan. You can come back and do that later. But at least you get your land use approved, and your owner gets some success, some movement on the plan
Finality, yeah.
for now.
Yeah. And I don't mind calling a special meeting if we need to
Yeah.
expedite it if it's ready to go, so.
But now you mentioned something. Again, we shouldn't be in the front, in the back. So now you're lighting me up from the front what we're going to do. Because originally some of the front was also warehousing and manufacturing, remember?
So, just to take the historical view, the last time you were here, I think the board had asked you to come back with a plan that preserved the front for retail. The board had asked you to set it back, so this isn't the first time you've been asked to move it to the back. So we're continuing, the board is holding, or at least on
I guess
recommending.
it was approaching the front.
No,
No?
yeah,
Oh.
I don't think there was any approval for the site plan.
No, it was just that they would allow commercial use for the whole property, because originally the back of the property was residential.
So
So,
what is it that we, remember that the very first,
so the very first time they told you they wanted you to push back from the highway and leave a buffer for retail.
okay,
That was it. They wanted you to push back from the highway, leave a buffer for retail use, and put the food processing further back. That was the first meeting.
But that has changed.
So,
I was under the impression that my plans were approved for the front, the way this was drawn. And then later on, I came back and I said, no, let's do everything together. No? I made a mistake.
no.
There's been no
Yeah,
approval
no.
of any plan.
Okay,
No.
so nothing was approved.
Yeah.
So then now again, front is gonna stay retail or nothing?
Well, yeah, it was retail, and I know for other applicants, we've allowed non-retail, well, it needs to look like retail, it needs to be
Oh, yeah.
built as retail,
Correct.
so that it can be used as retail. But that's not on the agenda today to decide today. And we can't, I mean, I can tell you how I feel, but I can't speak for the whole, and we're not even meeting as a city council right now. But I think if you work with Brandon, you understand what we're trying to have a uniform uses along I-35. And we're asking you to meet us in the middle so you can do what you want to do. But we're looking at also for the next 50 years, 100 years. So whenever your use is done, I mean, hopefully you're in business for 100 years and it's a great, become a great member of the city. But if you don't, and we want to make sure that we don't have this eyesore in the middle that's very different than everything else with these uses that we didn't want.
The way the building was designed,
Yeah.
we did it according to Bennett. So there was the all nice storefront, So even if they're gonna send later, it's ready for it.
Yeah.
You got it on the site plan,
No, on the original plans, where we submitted them, you know, and later you put the fencing, you put the, you know, so we comply with all.
we talked a lot about,
Right.
right, we talked a lot about
Mhm.
building configuration,
Mhm.
how to, you know, I think all along since we've been out here, I've been recommending to put the loading docks and things in the back, you know, try to design, you know, as the mayor said, you know, on the diesel place, it's just a nice looking brick building, that could be used for retail later. You can have
Yeah,
a basket store going there, and so, but what
I agree.
you designed here is a distribution facility in a building that has huge big loading docks on the side, a bunch of asphalt, made specifically, so what you designed here is not really a facility that can be turned into anything other than a warehousing and distribution facility.
But I
It may
think,
have a pretty facade on it, but it's
Yeah.
not gonna be anything else down the road. So I think that's kind of the concern, and that's the difference, you know, if you were to,
well, I think he did put, on the front, you put like a triple entry, big glass retail, and he did put that on
And
there.
then they insisted, really insisted that those bays, they needed to be from the side, just like we have them. So I guess we proposed fencing or screening for those,
run the back, you know.
or on the back, but he didn't want it on the back, that was the problem.
That's exactly, so, you know, there's a balance. So, I mean, if y'all are willing to maybe work with the city and come up with a reconfiguration that, you know, doesn't just have a distribution building that's gonna be have these huge docks and have trucks parked out there on the side. You know, there's a reason why when you go to Best Buy and other retail places, they have all that stuff in the back, because it doesn't look nice from the street. You know, the reason why, retail facilities and HEB, they don't have the building sideways on the street, and all the HEB trucks parked in the parking docks, totally visible from the retail, from the street, because it's not retail. So I think that's the thing, if you wanted to look at reconfiguring the development at the front, and maybe look at having the docks in the back and trying to design this in a way that it could potentially be reused for some sort of retail use down the road, that's definitely an option.
Yeah, we went through this. And,
Yeah, we talked, yeah, exactly.
yeah, we
talked
went
about
through this,
before.
we proposed this, we draw it this way, to have it all the way on the back. That's how my business works. This is the way, this is how my business works, and we may come back with something nicer, but I am really in a hard place.
Well, don't take too long. We want something done.
No, I want something to done. I'm already, how many months my equipment is sitting over there, my foundations are ready to be poured. I have a steel sitting over there, and we can decide if I can do something with it or not, and he is really not happy with that too. So we already connected the water, ready to go with it.
The other thing we can do is, again, plan development districts don't even have to have a site plan at all. They don't have to have a site plan. At the time you approve it, they don't have to have a site plan down the road. We could just write some regulations in there that just say how it's designed. You could do that. That way you don't have to deal with dealing with site plan later. We could just say the distribution will be around the back, and then they can figure it out later. Again, there's a lot of different ways to.
How long will do it?
But if you let me out with the distribution on the back, right? So then later on, there's not gonna be trucks in the front. No, I cannot even leave the truck over there, or I can design any bay, any entrance to it, because it says specifically, you cannot do anything but distribution in the front. And if they decide to keep the building like we designed it from the beginning, then this building goes away, and all this land is going to have to keep for future Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, which may happen or not. Or any kind of other retail. He's not in the retail business, that's the problem. And he is not also a developer that he can, say, I'm going to save my front, I can lease it, or I can do something with it. I'm not sure how to proceed on that.
What does
I
he
just don't
want?
want to lock myself in it.
What does he want?
He wants to use it all for commercial. I mean, we can give you, I mean, zoning can always be changed. So we can approve what Brandon's recommending based upon what's on the agenda, and you can try to work with it. And if there's something that you find incompatible, you can bring it back and ask for a zoning change. That's the thing about zoning. It's designed to be project by project. So if your project evolves and changes, you can always come back and say, oh, it changed, and
If we can do that,
yeah.
there will be, watching it will work without the restrictions, putting the restrictions like, you can do nothing in the front except the retail.
You can write things into the ordinance that allow him to even do warehousing and distribution in the front, as long as he's willing to comply with some design requirements, like having the loading docks being in the back. And only, allowing, having the front being X amount of retail. You could allow him to do warehousing and distribution in the front, as long as he meets all the development design requirements of the RD2. You could do that.
So we can put as long as I meet the design requirements and approved by the city council. So we could do still like the RD2 with those items that might be missing,
Mhm.
subject to final design approval.
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, as long as it meets all the RD2 requirements.
Yeah,
that-
for design.
I'm totally cool with that. Yeah.
And I will make sure, because I don't want to waste anybody's time, I want to make sure when we're going to be designing the building, I'm going to have to have a conversation. So we
Yeah.
have to have the conversation here.
Exactly, before the meeting.
So I'm going to try to convince them that, hey, listen, you know what?
All right, I think we got a motion.
So let's make sure, so it's a motion to approve a planned development district with the base zoning RD2 with the special exceptions discussed.
Yes. Food processing and related warehousing, parking, packaging, and assembly,
Subject to
subject to RD2 development.
I would say subject to all other, aside from getting this one particular use,
Yeah.
all other standards of of the zoning code have to be met. Well, actually, not the zoning code, all other standards of the occupancy and development, the UDC have to be met.
Yeah.
All right,
But
That's the mo-
But you're not going to say, like, for example, if we're going to do this parking on the back, and there's going to be no distribution, but there's going to be some kind of I don't know, hotel or motel, this parking automatically is not related to the food distribution.
Well,
That's okay.
yeah, but hotel and motels have parking.
it's
Yeah,
allowed in the
that's
RDC.
okay.
It's allowed.
Exactly.
It's okay?
Yeah, that'd be okay.
Yeah, you're allowed, as long as the uses that you're proposing are allowed in the RD2, you can do them. You can do them on the property. As long as it meets the landscaping, all the other drainage requirements, all the tree preservation, all the other requirements.
That's normal, that's standard.
Yeah.
That's standard.
There's no
But you
trees
just
anywhere.
don't- You get the distribution.
RD2 with the.
This is gonna be hard to
warehousing,
take minutes.
Yeah,
Parking.
yes. Warehousing, parking, assembly,
assembling, and food processing.
packaging related to
Not
food processing.
manufacturing, but food processing.
As long as those things are specifically associated with food processing.
Yes, okay.
Put it in a motion.
As long as that's the.
Okay, is that what the motion's gonna say?
Yeah,
That's the motion.
okay.
That's the motion.
You make the motion?
Yes, just like the way he wrote it.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second.
I second it.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye,
All opposed say no. Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
You got it, sir.
We'll move on to agenda item number 3, discuss, consider, take possible action regarding this City of Von Army future land use map and formulation of a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
We're finished with the zoning.
Yes.
Okay, good.
No,
Not
no,
yet?
one more on that one. It's the
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
future land use item.
The bird map, sir.
Yes.
The bird man?
He calls it the bird map.
Yeah.
It looks like a bird.
We're
Oh,
number
does it?
3, yeah?
Yeah, that's our bird art.
Yeah,
Okay.
It does. Yoshi.
yeah, it looks like
It's
Yoshi.
like Yoshi.
That's the Born Army bird, that's what we
Okay.
called it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Come on, that's your examination.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
You gotta come back in 30 days.
Did you know that he works for a guy in Mexico
Yeah.
that's very rich and he gets on it?
It's funny.
That's right. I can build retail. All right.
Yeah, so this plan, is, we talked about this plan several times. So this is the future land use map.
Okay.
And so a future land use map is a long-range planning tool. It's something that state law, doesn't require, but it is highly recommended for cities because this map that you're looking at, it gives you, it supports your zoning. It's a guide for zoning applications and a later date. So a lot of cities have these $200,000-$300,000 comprehensive plans that big corporate consultants create. They're not necessary. All that's necessary is this particular map that's in front of you, which is the most important part of these big plans. And so, so this map it's intended to be a high-level land use plan that guides where your future zoning districts that are in the UDC that we created will go. And so this map is intended to guide y'all, intended to guide me, it's intended to guide developers that come in, future mayors that come in and want to know what you can do where. It's intended to be a guide to show them, okay, in these areas, near these roads, this is where the city intends to see larger employment center uses, or where the city intends to see retail, or where the city intends to see neighborhoods. And so, if you're real up to speed on the UDC, there are different kinds of zoning districts. There are regional zoning districts, there are community zoning districts, and there are neighborhood zoning districts. And so, those zoning districts correspond to the different areas on this map. And so only regional districts can go in the regional areas, community zoning goes in the community areas, and then neighborhood zoning goes in the neighborhood areas. So this map is really intended to just protect the city. It's intended to protect y'all from uses that, again, we may not want on I-35. It's intended to protect the neighborhoods against, industrial uses going in next to the neighborhoods. So you'll notice you've got the map, and then you've got 3 other sheets that are kind of a breakdown on the different area classifications. There's a sheet that talks about regional areas, and a sheet that talks about community areas, and a sheet that talks about neighborhood areas. And so that gives a general description of what these areas will be like, shows some pictures to give the community an idea. And there's also a description of different development types that would potentially go in these areas. And then also there's some methods in there to show, how the city goes about, when people come in and apply for a zone change, how do you go about evaluating that and make sure it's consistent with this map. So your regional areas, we have, as you know, we have 3 different types of regional zoning. We've got the regional zoning, which is more for like a downtown area. We've got the regional zoning, which is more for your auto-oriented, retail-centric type of areas that go on I-35. And you got your regional uses that are more kind of employment center kind of stuff. And then you've got your community types of areas, which are going to be a little bit less intensive. And your regional is going to be your most intense. This is going to be areas where development happens, where people are coming from San Antonio, they're coming from outside the region. These are areas that are used by residents and areas in the region. And then you've got your community areas that are used by pretty much just the community. People don't drive all the way here to go to a Family Dollar. So that's the kind of stuff you get in the community areas. You get more office. Really, community areas are for, apartments, for non-residential stuff, that only the community uses. And then, of course, you got your neighborhood areas, which are going to be your different types of residential, your single-family areas, areas that maybe have manufactured homes, maybe areas that have some duplexes or townhouses or things like that, that are super low density, more open space, these kind of things. So this is kind of the final thing. We did the UDC, which was a huge effort to finally get the city some real regulations. And then a lot of times cities will do this first, but y'all didn't have regulations, and you had Lennar and KV and D.R. Horton and all these people knocking on your doors, so the council decided, hey, we need to stop the bleed and get some regulations in place to where the city doesn't get totally destroyed. And now it's time to go back and do this activity, which is creating a plan and a framework that supports your zone. So that's what this does.
Okay. I mean, there seems to be a logic to it, right? You got the regional areas by the main thoroughfares, and then you have kind of buffers. Is that,
Yes,
so
sir.
it's just less dense as you get away from,
Exactly. You know, community areas are kind of like a transition. They're intended to be more of a transition between
Yeah.
the neighborhood areas.
okay.
Okay.
Do we have any extra copies for them?
Of what? Okay.
Yeah, you'll notice regional areas correspond with regional roads. Regional areas correspond with regional roads. Community areas respond more to community types of roads, smaller collector roads.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
can you slow them down and put them outside?
Okay. Could y'all be quiet, please? Thank you.
And neighborhood areas are where the local neighborhoods are.
Go ahead.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of trying to make it a simple framework, you know?
What are these featured thoroughfares? Are these just aspirational?
Yes.
Okay.
So prior to 4 years ago, prior to the 2021 legislative session, cities were authorized to have a master thoroughfare map. So prior to 2021, the brilliant legislature that we had that year, cities could not only have a future land use map that guides where zoning goes and guides the future land use and build out of the city, cities could have a master thoroughfare plan which came up with a transportation framework for their city.
Right.
And dictated where arterial roads go, but usually developers don't build arterial roads, but most importantly, it dictated where collector roads go. So, a lot of times, if you go up north to San Antonio where D.R. Horton or Lennar, they come in, they'll get a 1,000-acre piece of land, and they just put the roads wherever they want to, and there's no connectivity, and, we wonder why our highways are so congested, right? Because everything has to funnel out. You can't connect from one subdivision to another. So, cities used to be able to have a thoroughfare map that said, nope, we want collectors spaced every quarter mile, and here's the width of the road, here's where the alignment is going to be, or you could kind of plan the way cities used to plan. And so, but that legislative session took away that ability. It said that cities can't tell developers where to put roads anymore, essentially. The only way we can tell developers where to put roads is if it's on the Metropolitan Planning Organization Act. So we've been working with them, and we still are. They've got, we're going to submit, or this plan was to submit this to them.
Yeah.
And so this map, even though we can't require developers to put roads in those places, we can still use it as an organizing element for the thoroughfare map.
Right. Okay. That's good to me. Any questions?
No, we've seen this before.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion then to adopt.
Make a motion, we adopt the
The bird,
One Army Bird map.
the bird.
All right, the future land use map. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it. Motion carries. That's everything on this agenda, so I'll entertain a motion to
Make a
adjourn.
motion, we adjourn here.
All right.
I
Do we have a
second.
second? All in favor say aye.
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 All right. It is 6:24 p.m. We are adjourned.
And
The reason we call it,
I'm going to take a little break.
Can you take your mic off?
Yeah,
5-minute break.
we'll take a 5-minute. We'll start the meeting at 6:30.